Picture this. You're 6 months into a relationship, you've invested your time, your energy, your emotions, and then you finally see it. The pattern you ignored in week 2, the red flag you rationalized in month 1, and you realize you could have saved yourself all of this if you'd just known what to look for. Here's what most men don't understand. Low-value women don't announce themselves. They don't walk up and say, "Hey, I'm going to drain your energy and waste your time." They're subtle. They test you in small ways, show their true colors in moments you're not even paying attention to. But there are 6 specific behaviors that reveal everything. Not the obvious stuff everyone talks about. These are hidden patterns that most men completely miss because they're focused on all the wrong things. And once you know what they are, you can spot a low-value woman within the first few weeks and save yourself months of wasted effort. In this video, I'm breaking down these 6 hidden signs before you waste months proving yourself to someone who was never worth it. By the end, you'll know exactly what to watch for and when to walk away. Let's get into sign number 1. Now, before we get into the signs, let me be clear about something. This video isn't about attacking women or saying all women are low value. It's not about being bitter or cynical about relationships. This is about standards. This is about knowing what to look for so you don't waste your time on someone who's not genuinely invested in you. The reality is, high-value men screen for compatibility. They don't chase validation or settle for whoever gives them attention. They understand that having boundaries and standards isn't judgmental. It's selective. And being selective is what separates men who build strong relationships from men who get stuck in toxic cycles. So here's what we're really talking about: the specific behaviors that reveal character, investment, and compatibility early on. Let's break down why this matters. Here's the problem most men face. They ignore red flags because they're afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of being too picky, afraid that if they walk away, they won't find someone better. So they rationalize the warning signs, make excuses for her behavior, and convince themselves that things will get better over time. But here's what you need to understand. When you ignore these signs early on, you're not giving her a chance to improve. You're teaching her that you'll accept low-effort behavior. You're setting the standard that she doesn't have to invest much to keep you around. And that dynamic only gets worse, never better. Ask yourself, are you evaluating her character, or are you just grateful for the attention? Because there's a massive difference between choosing a partner and settling for whoever chooses you. Most men operate from scarcity. They meet a woman who shows interest, and they immediately lock in, afraid to lose the opportunity. They stop screening. They stop evaluating. They ignore obvious incompatibilities because they're thinking, "At least I have someone." But high-value men, they do the opposite. They observe, they test boundaries. They pay attention to how she responds when things don't go her way. They understand that the beginning of a relationship is when people are on their best behavior. So if she's showing problematic patterns now, it's only going to get worse later. That's why knowing these 6 signs is critical, because once you see them, you can't unsee them. And that awareness is what protects you. So here's what we're going to cover. In the next 6 sections, I'm breaking down the exact behavioral patterns that separate low-value women from high-value women. Sign number 1, how she responds when you establish boundaries. Sign number 2, her relationship with masculine energy. Sign number 3, the pattern of her past relationships. Sign number 4, how she treats people who can't benefit her. Sign number 5, her reaction to your success. And sign number 6, the consistency between her words and her actions. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to watch for in the first few weeks. You'll be able to spot these patterns before you get emotionally invested. And most importantly, you'll have the confidence to walk away from red flags instead of rationalizing them. Let's start with sign number 1. Sign number 1, how she responds when you set a boundary. Here's what this reveals. A low-value woman will weaponize guilt when you establish boundaries. She doesn't see boundaries as healthy limits. She sees them as rejection. And instead of respecting them, she'll make you feel bad for having them. Watch for these specific behaviors. If you tell her you can't text back immediately because you're working and she gets defensive or gives you the silent treatment, that's a red flag. If you say you need a night to yourself and she tries to negotiate or makes you feel guilty for wanting space, that's a problem. If you slow down the physical side of things and she escalates emotionally or accuses you of not being interested, that's manipulation. Here's the psychology behind this. When a woman can't respect boundaries, it's because she views your needs as threats to her control. She's not thinking about the relationship. She's thinking about maintaining her access to your attention, your validation, and your time. And that dynamic doesn't get better. It gets worse. Now contrast that with a high-value woman. She respects boundaries because she has her own. When you say you need time to focus on work, she doesn't take it personally. She understands that healthy people have limits. She might even appreciate it because it shows you're not desperate for constant validation. So here's what you do. Set a simple boundary early on. Something small. Tell her you can't respond to texts immediately during work hours, or that you need one night a week to decompress alone. Then watch her reaction. If she respects it, that's green flag. If she guilt trips you, makes it about her, or tries to wear you down, walk away. Because if she can't respect small boundaries now, she won't respect major ones later. That's sign number 1. But here's where it gets even more revealing. Sign number 2, her relationship with masculine energy. Low-value women have a dysfunctional relationship with masculinity. They either compete with it or disrespect it entirely. And both extremes reveal the same problem. She doesn't understand how to be in a relationship with a man. Here's what to watch for. Does she constantly challenge your decisions just to challenge them? Not because she has a better option, but because she needs to win every small interaction. When you suggest a restaurant for dinner, does she immediately propose somewhere else, even if she doesn't care where you go? That's not preference, that's competition. Or does she mock your confidence? When you talk about your goals or ambitions, does she frame it as arrogance? Does she make little comments that undermine your self-assurance like, "You think you're so great," or "Must be nice to be that confident"? That's not playful teasing. That's resentment toward masculine energy. On the flip side, some low-value women go to the other extreme. They have no backbone at all, no opinions, no standards. They agree with everything you say, mirror your preferences, and act like they have no personality. That's not respect for masculinity. That's a lack of self-worth, looking for someone to follow. Here's what a healthy dynamic looks like. A high-value woman respects masculine energy while maintaining her own feminine power. When you make a decision, she's cooperative, not combative. She doesn't feel threatened by your confidence. She's attracted to it. And she has her own standards and boundaries, which means she's choosing you, not clinging to you. So here's the test. Make a simple decision. Something neutral, like where to go for dinner or what movie to watch. If she constantly resists just to resist, that's a red flag. If she has zero input or immediately defers to everything you say, that's also a red flag. You want someone who can be cooperative without needing to dominate or disappear. That brings us to sign number 3, and this one's a big one. Sign number 3, the pattern of her past relationships. Here's the truth. How she talks about her exes tells you everything about how she'll eventually talk about you. And if every single ex in her history is the villain, you need to ask yourself one question. What's the common denominator? Watch for these patterns. Does she take zero accountability for any of her past relationships failing? Is it always, "He cheated," "He was toxic," "He didn't appreciate me," never, "We weren't compatible," or "I realized I wanted different things"? That's a red flag, because healthy people can acknowledge their part in why relationships didn't work. Another pattern to watch. Does she jump from relationship to relationship without ever being single? That's called monkey branching. She swings to the next guy before letting go of the last one, and what that tells you is she can't be alone. She needs constant validation. So when things get difficult with you, she'll already be lining up the next branch. Also, pay attention to how she interacts with her exes. If she's still texting them regularly, keeping them around as friends, or bringing them up constantly, That's emotional unavailability. She's not fully invested in you because she's still holding on to them for backup options or validation. Here's what a high-value woman does differently. She talks about her past with maturity. She might say, "I've made mistakes in relationships. I used to ignore red flags because I was afraid of being alone." Or, "I realized I wasn't ready for commitment back then, and I hurt someone because of it." That's accountability. That's growth. So here's what you do. Early on, ask her about her past relationships. Not in an interrogating way, just casually. "What have your past relationships taught you?" Then listen. If she blames everyone else and takes no responsibility, walk away. If she shows self-awareness and accountability, that's a green flag. Because if she can't own her mistakes with them, she won't own her mistakes with you. Which leads us directly into sign number 4. Sign number 4, and pay close attention to this one: how she treats people who can't benefit her. This is the ultimate character test. Anyone can be sweet to someone they're trying to impress. But how does she treat the waiter, the Uber driver, the customer service rep, people she'll never see again, people who can't do anything for her? That's when the mask comes off. Here's what to watch for. Is she rude or dismissive to service workers? Does she talk down to people she perceives as beneath her? Does she only turn on the charm for people who can elevate her status, network, or opportunities? That's not selective social skills. That's fake character. And here's why this matters more than almost anything else. How she treats people when she thinks no one important is watching is exactly how she'll treat you when you're no longer useful to her. When you lose your job, when you're going through a hard time, when you're vulnerable and can't provide what she wants, she'll show you the same coldness she shows that waiter. I've seen this pattern play out too many times. The guy thinks, "She's so sweet to me, so these other instances must be one-off bad days." No, those one-off moments are her showing you who she really is when social pressure is removed. A high-value woman treats everyone with basic respect. She's kind to the barista. She's patient with customer service. She says thank you to people doing their jobs. Not because she's performing for you, but because that's her actual character. She doesn't have two different versions of herself depending on who's watching. So here's your test. Take her somewhere where she'll interact with service workers. A restaurant, a store, anywhere. Don't make it obvious you're watching. Just observe. How does she speak to them? Does she say please and thank you? Or does she treat them like they're invisible? One instance might be a bad day. But if it's a pattern, if you see it multiple times, walk away. Because eventually, when you're the one who's vulnerable, you'll become the target of that same treatment. Now, let's talk about sign number 5. Sign number 5, her reaction to your success. Low-value women feel threatened by your growth instead of celebrating it. And this reveals something critical about how she views the relationship. It's not a partnership, it's a competition. It's a watch for these reactions when something good happens to you. Do you get a promotion at work, and instead of excitement, she immediately makes it about her? Well, now you'll never have time for me. Or, I guess you're too important now? That's not concern. That's resentment disguised as insecurity. Or does she minimize your achievements? You accomplish something you're proud of, and her response is, "It's not that big of a deal." Or, "Plenty of people do that." She can't let you have the moment because your success makes her feel inadequate. Some women go even further. They compete. You share good news, and within minutes, she's talking about her own accomplishments, trying to match or one-up what you just told her. It's never "I'm proud of you." It's always, "Well, I just got this too." Here's the psychology. When a woman can't celebrate your wins, it's because she sees your success as a threat to the dynamic. She's afraid you'll realize you can do better. She's worried you'll outgrow her. So instead of rising with you, she tries to keep you small. A high-value woman, she's genuinely excited for your success, not because it benefits her directly, but because she wants to see you thrive. When you get that promotion, she's the first one celebrating. When you hit a goal, she's proud. She understands that your growth doesn't diminish her. If anything, it elevates the relationship. Here's how to test this. Share something you're excited about, a career win, a personal achievement, anything meaningful to you. Then watch her first reaction before she has time to self-correct. Is it genuine excitement, or is there a flash of something else? Resentment, minimization, or the need to redirect attention to herself? If she can't be happy for you when things are going well, she's definitely not going to support you when things are hard. Which brings us to the final sign. Sign number 6, and this is the most important one. The consistency between her words and her actions. This is where everything comes together. Because a woman can say all the right things. She can tell you she wants a committed relationship. She can say she values loyalty. She can talk about building a future together. But if her behavior doesn't match, those words mean nothing. Here's what to watch for. Does she say she wants something serious but keeps her dating apps active? Does she claim she values honesty but lies about small things? Does she talk about building together but never invests time, effort, or energy into the relationship? That's not mixed signals. That's her showing you through action what she actually prioritizes. Pay attention to the gap between what she promises and what she delivers. She says she'll call you back in an hour, and it turns into 8 hours. She tells you she really likes spending time with you, but she constantly cancels plans or shows up late. She talks about how important communication is, but when conflict happens, she shuts down or ghosts for days. Low-value women manage their image through words because words are easy. They create hope, buy time, and keep you invested without requiring actual effort. But behavior reveals the truth. Behavior shows priority. Behavior shows investment. A high-value woman's words and actions are aligned. If she says she's excited to see you, she makes time for you. If she says she values communication, she actually communicates, especially during conflict. If she says she wants commitment, her behavior reflects exclusivity and investment, not options and backup plans. Here's the rule. For the first 90 days, ignore everything she says. Don't listen to her words. Watch only her actions. Does she follow through? Does she show up consistently? Does she invest effort without being asked? Because here's the truth. People tell you who they are through behavior, not words. And if there's inconsistency between the two, always believe the behavior. If she says one thing and does another, the doing is the truth. Now that you know all 6 signs, here's the uncomfortable truth most men don't want to hear. Now here's something that might sting, but you need to hear it. I've given you 6 signs. You know what to look for. But here's the real question. If you're currently with a woman showing these signs, or if you've ignored them in the past, why? Because here's the truth most men don't want to face. You're not with a low-value woman because you can't see the signs. You're with her because deep down, you don't think you deserve better. You're settling because you've convinced yourself this is the best you can get. Let me be blunt. When a man has options, he doesn't tolerate disrespect. When a man knows his worth, he doesn't make excuses for bad behavior. When a man values himself, he walks away from women who don't value him. But when a man operates from scarcity, when he's afraid of being alone, when he doesn't believe he can attract a high-value woman, he stays. He rationalizes. He convinces himself it's not that bad. Now I know how that sounds, but this isn't about shame. This is about awareness. Because the moment you realize your value, you stop tolerating low-value behavior. The moment you understand that you're the prize, not her, everything changes. Ask yourself, are you staying because she's genuinely great for you? Or are you staying because you're afraid you won't find someone else? Are you making excuses for her behavior that you'd never tolerate from a friend? Have you stopped growing? Stopped pursuing your goals? Because you're too busy managing her dysfunction? If the answer to any of those questions makes you uncomfortable, that discomfort is telling you something. Because you can't build a high-value relationship on a low-value foundation. And the first step to finding a high-value woman is becoming a high-value man who refuses to settle. So what do you do with this information? Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 6 signs have you experienced? Drop the number in the comments below, 1 through 6. Have you ever walked away from someone showing these signs, or did you ignore them? What happened? I read every single comment, and I'm here to help you navigate this, not just to lecture at you, but to actually connect and give you real guidance. Because this isn't just about avoiding toxic women. This is about building the standards and self-worth that attract high-quality partners. Men who know their value create relationships that everyone else wishes they had. Remember, having standards doesn't make you judgmental. It makes you selective. And selective men who know their worth? They're the ones who build strong, healthy relationships while everyone else is stuck in cycles of drama and disappointment. You're not desperate. You're not settling. You're choosing quality over availability. And that's exactly what separates high-value men from everyone else. Don't settle.